Welcome back to the channel, Warhammer Man back in the studio, and today we're going to take a look at the Chapter Approve preview. If you like this kind of content for Warhammer 40,000, Kill Team, Necromunda, Age of Sigmar, and Warcry, make sure you like and subscribe for everything from unboxing, reviews, painting tutorials, commissions, all kinds of good stuff. Anything to do with the hobby, this is the spot for you. So we've got an article here from Warhammer Community with a couple of previews, basically talking about some points changes and the direction of 40k. So it starts off by saying 4 of the biggest points changes from Chapter Approved 2022. And we know that is basically on pre-order at this point in time, so these will be in effect in no time. A new season of Warhammer 40,000 is about to kick off with the Warzone nachmund, but before that drops, the latest Chapter Approved brings essential changes for fans of match play, including a serious round of points updates. This will be shortly followed by Campaign and Crusade rules in Vigilus alone, which contains even more ways for you to play games of Warhammer 40,000. Eldritch Omens giving you your first taste of the narrative to come. Points values are changing pretty much across the board in the Munitorum Field Manual 2022, which is up for pre-order this weekend, and we've cured a few of the biggest changes. So number 1 bullet point, squeeze in more vehicles. Whether you're a fan of trundling tanks or agile aircraft, points are going down. The balanced status slate may limit the number of flyers units you can include, but they'll all now take up a smaller chunk of your army. And if you love tanks, crawlers, walkers, half-tracks, bikes, or buggies, it's easier than ever to bring a few more gladiators or Le Mans Rust battle tanks to the table. So here we can see basically have 9 vehicles, Storm Speeder variants down 10 points, Space Marine Gladiator variants down 15 points, Sororitas Immolators and Exorcists down 10 points, Le Mans Rust battle tanks down 10 points, Plague Burst Crawlers down 15, Hemlock Wraith Fighters down 20, Doom Sith down 20, Night Sith down 15, and all wagons down 15 for the orcs. So overall, makes sense if we're going to have big guns or ignore invulnerable saves coming in. Makes sense to kind of drop the points on some of these vehicles a little bit, as essentially they'll be a little more vulnerable to damage, less resilient, more likely to die. Therefore, some of them may be a little overcosted. And then also, some of these are some core units in the various armies and maybe not, showing their place as much as they should. So next we have bullet point 2, more Necrons for your Overlord to command. So just right off the bat, this is well needed and overdue in my opinion. I feel like the Necrons have kind of been forgotten in this edition. They got a ton of new models, ton of love with the initial Indominus set and everything, but they just really haven't had it on the rules or points. So hopefully this will put them back in the game, a little more competitive, a little more fun, etc. So Necrons were one of the biggest winners in the latest balanced status slate. The Cryptex worked hard to upgrade a whole bunch of units with the shiny core keyword, resulting in more technical options for your Overlord. Now they've also figured out the alarm clock settings for their tomb worlds, which means more mechanical horrors, waking up in the time to hit the table. So we got the Doomsday Ark down 10 points, Scorpec Destroyers down 5, Ophidian Destroyers down 5. From what I understand too, we got quite a buff on these destroyers, so maybe seeing like large units of them, in droves. The Locust Destroyer down 5, Monolith down 30, Obelisk down 40, Tesseract Vault down 50, and the Silent King down 30 as well. So hopefully that makes a difference and lets them be a little more fun, a little more competitive. There is a note, destroyer cults of all varieties are seeing significant discounts. As far as the biggest and most intimidating constructs like the ominous monolith, it's a good time to be a cranky metal skeleton. So bullet point 3, iconic Adeptus Astartes pointing to inspire. Costs are creeping down on iconic units from some of the most recognizable Space Marine chapters, particularly Blood Angels Death Company squads, Ravenwing Dark Talons, Thunderbolt Cavalry, and Corvus Blackstar. So we see the Death Company squads. Does not specify, but I'm assuming by squads it means all Death Company, down 2 points a model. Blood Angels Mephiston down 15 points. He was pretty well pointed before, and then I felt like they upped his points and they overdid it. So hopefully this will kind of balance it back out. The Dark Angels Nephilim Jetfighter down 15. Dark Talon down 15 as well. Black Knights down 5 points per model. So Dark Angels getting quite a few here. The Wolfen down 2 points a model. Thunderwolf Cavalry down 5 points a model, and Corvus Blackstar down 15. Again, I felt like the Space Wolves, same type of thing. They got basically, they were pretty powerful there for a minute, pretty durable, and that was the majority of what they had going for them. And then they basically got nerfed, and it was like, oh, well, now they're not actually good anymore. So hopefully this brings a balance back a little bit. Hopefully that evens out the power creep a little. So bullet point 4, terrors are tempered across the galaxy. Part of the ebb and flow of Warhammer 40,000 is that units have ups and downs. Everyone loves to play with their favorite fightiest toys, but some are a little overtuned at present. Points increases for a handful of units should see them maintain their power, but give others a chance to torment tables. So obviously, we see right off the bat, these are some units that are constantly taken, pretty much auto includes. So we see the Space Marine Primaris Chaplain on bike, up 10 points. The Contemptor Dreadnought with Volkite Culverin, up 10 points. The Grey Knight Nemesis Dreadknight, up 10 points. Volkite, Buglerine, and Lightning Locks, up 5 points. Death Guard Foul Blightspawn, up 15 points. Hive Guard, up 5 points. Rocket Truck Squig Buggies, up 20 points. And the Beast Boss on Squigosaur, up 30 points. So overall, makes sense. The majority of these were probably either slightly undercosted or just overutilized. So I think overall there's some pretty good balance. 30 points on the Beast Boss on Squigosaur is quite a jump. So he was definitely a little undercosted before, but sometimes they go a little overboard. So we'll have to see how that 30 points affects him and whether he's still a viable option at that price. But, you know, the Hive Guard, 5 points. I don't think that's really going to change anything for them. I think it's probably going to balance the game out a little more because, you know, indirect fire is extremely powerful. Obviously, we see, you know, the Volkite are, you know, we're seeing them nonstop. The Nemesis Dreadknight kind of falls in the same category with the Hive Guard. Primaris Chaplains, mobility, durability, and buffs are pretty amazing. And then obviously the, you know, the buggy spam was a little out of control. They kind of reined that in a little bit. But a little change is probably overdue. So, and then the last bit of the article is this should take the edge off Hive Guard, Rocket Truck Squig Buggies, which currently rule the roost thanks to their powerful indirect fire. Volkite weapons and lightning locks have also seen a points increase. Defanging packs of Night Morrax just a touch. There's not long to wait until the new season launches, when you'll be able to battle to decide the fate of Vigilus. And with it, perhaps the entirety of Imperium Nihilus. So basically, we see obviously the biggest change points-wise is the Beast Boss on Squigosaur. We see they have essentially increased the price of, so indirect fire is a big one for the increases. And then also a couple buffing characters, definitely a big increase. And then we see that, you know, the amount of mortal wounds you can dish out. So that's our big increases. And then for decreases, we see some of the like harder hitting integral units for some of the Space Marine factions, as well as a character or two in there. And then of course Necrons, not I don't want to say across the board, but all the big stuff, all the monolith variants basically, including the Silent King and the Doomsday Ark. So essentially all the big boy vehicles getting a little decrease here. And then obviously being core units is going to be huge for the destroyers and hopefully the Locust destroyers as well. You know, I mean, there was a time when basically destroyer spam was a thing and it was like out of control. And basically since the codex came out, destroyers just have not been good in that same way. So, you know, and part of it's power creep, part of it's just so many new units. But overall, I think the core changes will make the biggest difference here. So I'd really like to see huge units of destroyers on the battlefield again, you know, just running around trouncing either hand-to-hand combat or just laying down some fire. So, and then finally, we just see in general that vehicles have gotten just a little bit of a haircut. I think that's probably a good idea. You know, a lot of these are integral units in people's armies. A couple of them you don't really see that often. Some of them are the type of thing where you would expect to see them. I think with taking away the airplane spam a little bit or flyer spam, you can probably afford to decrease the points on some of these a little bit because you're not able to like overwhelm with a ton of flyers now. And then also, I think with the wagons and some of the other durable vehicles, a couple point little knockdown is not that big a deal because you're seeing damage is going up in general on units. So that essentially translates to the durability of vehicles going down. Therefore, you could argue that the points need to go down as well. And then obviously immolators and exorcists are integral parts of Adeptus Sororitas armies. And we're really not seeing that as much since like the Castigator and the Rhinos are pretty much the main go-tos for the vehicles. So overall, hopefully this will change the balance a little bit. Still going to be a lot of other points changes, and many of these units, you're only taking 1, 2, or 3 of them in your army. So I don't know how big of a difference any of this is going to make specifically to your overall points in the army. A lot of times the increases and decreases in the army will be offset. Sometimes though, you will see your army's whole point cost go up by 100 points in a 2,000 point army, or maybe more. Chances are you were probably just playing a bunch of undercosted stuff if that's the case. And if you were underperforming, if your army felt like it just couldn't win, chances are you're probably going to get an extra unit or two added in with the points decreases. So hopefully this will bring a little more balance back to the game and make it enjoyable, at least change around the meta a little bit. But definitely looking forward to seeing how this all plays out. If you enjoyed the video today and you like this kind of reaction and review video, or you're interested in anything from our commissions going out of the studio, all kinds of painting, conversion, and magnetization tutorials, anything pretty much to do with Warhammer 40,000, Necromunda, Age of Sigmar, or Warcry, pretty much anything hobby related, make sure that you do like and subscribe for daily content. Well, there you have it, guys. That's it for today. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Are you mad about some of these changes? Are you excited? What are you going to take instead or in addition with the points drops? And are there any of these that you just feel like are out of control because the armies they were in were either already too good or not good enough, and these point changes are going to hurt or help them way too much? Let me know down below. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and I'm out of here.